6 days ago, a 16-year-old kid named Ralph Yarl went to pick up his brothers in a Kansas City, Missouri neighborhood. He accidentally rang the wrong doorbell. He was then shot in the head by the homeowner, an 84-year-old white man named Andrew Lester. Lester appeared in court today, pleaded not guilty to first-degree assault. Now, is this just about making the process work, making them make the case, making sure they do it the right way, or does he have a defense? Let's bring in the better minds, okay? We have defense attorney Mark Geragos and Florida prosecutor Dave Aronberg. Let's flip it here and start with the defense. Counsel Geragos, do you think that he has a shot at beating this case?
Oh, he does. He clearly does. And as I've often said to you, much of it will be determined in jury selection, number one. But number two, he's going to get jury instructions that will say that you've got to get into his mind and his mental state. And there's going to be a fight over that and whether or not he's got any issues mentally and things of that nature. That having been said, it's a heartbreaking case. Any way you look at it, you've got somebody that could be your father or your grandfather. You got somebody who could be your son or your grandson, and It's a tragedy all the way around.
Dave, I got to tell you, I see it as more tragic on the victim and the victim's family side if this guy's basically able to plead, well, what'd you think I was going to do? It was a black guy in the middle of the night knocking on my door. Of course I shot at him. Is that what we're going to hear here?
Well, you look at that video, Chris, and you can just see jury nullification all over this, where all it takes is one juror to feel sympathy towards this guy who's walking with a cane, who's hunched over. He's 84 years old, and you've got a lot of gun owners in that jury pool. So I think that there's a real shot that this thing could be a jury nullification issue, which is despite the jury instructions, they just decide, I don't want to put this guy in prison for the rest of his life for a mistake, when the law says you should, because unless he had a reasonable fear of his life, he should not be shooting this young man who's standing on the porch and ringing the doorbell. And even if you believe his account, where the victim was grabbing the handle of the door, that still doesn't give him the right to shoot him. He shot first, asked questions later, and it definitely doesn't give him the right to shoot him the second time after he was laying on the ground. That was an attempted execution. So hopefully justice will be done.
Well, and Chris, by the way, no, I don't know who his defense lawyer is, but he's hardly going to make the argument that you just set up there as a straw man. He's not going to get up there and say, he's a black guy who was at my door. What do you think? I shot him. No, that's not going to be the defense. So let's not diminish that or make a cartoon caricature out of this. They're going to get inside of this guy's mind. They're going to show you, and I don't even know, one of the first things I'm sure they're going to do is they're going to do a both physiological and psychological assessment of him, and then they're going to tell the story from his perspective, and it's not going to invoke racism or anything else. It's going to be quite the opposite. They're going to go down the path of he was scared, he was terrified. It was whether it was objective or subjective, that's going to be a fight, I suppose. But at the end of the day, one of the things I would probably take issue also with Dave is I don't know that it would necessarily be jury nullification if he tells his story or if he has told his story already and they can get that in either through a psychiatrist or through a cop or through him. He's entitled to a jury instruction.
Of course. What I'm saying is, if he is not of sound mind or competent, that changes everything. But I don't think just because you're 84 years old, it means you lost your mind. My mother is older than that. I don't want to get in any more trouble. But I promise you, she knows not to just shoot somebody because they grab your door handle. But I appreciate your best efforts, and certainly I don't want to make it about race. I just don't know how that argument doesn't suggest that it was somehow okay because of it, but we'll see how it plays out. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.